Hello and welcome to the corner. I'm the Frosted Glass, and I'm joined by my fellow Alabaster Savages. I am not Jack Gunsky. Jeez, pick a name.
dreamed a dream of time gone by.
Mute him now.
Thank you, Shingles. All right, Moonshock.
The stupid people are so common, they might as well be God because they're omnipresent.
Unlike us.
Damn right.
Pterodimantus.
Hello.
And Johnny is in his alter ego form of Will It Forge tonight.
And Jack has killed the dreams we dreamed.
Yeah.
I dreamed that God would be forgiving.
Yeah.
You need a no falsetto rule on this stream.
I'm starting to get why Braniel didn't want you at his house tonight.
Yeah.
Oh.
The next 6 hours will be trying to determine if that is Jack singing his best or deliberately singing badly.
They're the same thing.
No, I wasn't singing at all. That was just me playing a clip of Susan Boyle.
No, Susan Boyle's better than that.
Yeah, from memory, she could actually sing. It was just an appearance. It was on a...
Yeah, I've heard
her
Susan
appearance and her mentality.
Well, she was Scottish, right?
What do you mean by her mentality? I don't know anything about her besides she can sing.
Didn't she kind of lose her mind a little bit at a certain point?
Boyle. You know.
Well, she's a woman. They do that.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
Generally every 28 days.
so since we have the alter Johnny here, you'll have to provide the Native American side for our first article.
Yeah.
Hey, how are ya? Hey, how are ya?
I was waiting for that.
There's no such thing as migrants crossing the border illegally.
Okay.
I'm
Your native friend.
I'm not sure what laws you're reading, but I can assure you you're wrong factually. Like
Us-
it's not even.
Since time immemorial, for all of recorded history, humanity has had.
No, maybe
differing-
they're talking about the northern border, and they're just saying there's no Canadians trying to sneak in.
No, it's not even like this is a stupid opinion. This is just factually wrong.
Whoa.
No, once you hear the article, then you'll be proven wrong.
Although if we're gonna get pedantic about it, it wouldn't be migrants crossing the border illegally. It would be aliens crossing the border illegally.
Okay.
Well, maybe that's the point the author's trying to make.
No, I doubt that
Because
they're
illegal border crossers are not migrants; they're aliens.
Yeah, because that's the whole thing that started this. No, we should have never ceded the ground when people got offended over the term illegal aliens. Because that's bullshit. They were like, no, it's illegal immigrants. No, they're not immigrants. They're aliens. Because when you call them illegal immigrants, that's just a foot in the door for them to say, they're immigrants too, you know?
So before we go
prefer...
on, hold on. Before we go on, since this is just a generic name for a medium author, the very first picture that came up when I did a Google search of your native friend medium is going to be in chat. And I might say pay close attention to the people in the background. Take a look at those ham hocks.
Say I prefer prefer the term invaders, which I use for you as well, Paleface.
Enjoy, everybody.
Us cities.
Son, if you're listening, can you beat up your husband?
That would
Us,
take much.
us cities playing the victim on ancestral migration. Apparently the author is a city because this does not say U.S.
No, it doesn't.
Please scroll down to see the entire article. Oh good, this article has instructions.
There's more to it than that.
I lose my cool every time I listen to USA News. For white North Americans, this will be painful to read. But let's be
Here's
honest.
an idea. Don't read it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not painful. It's just embarrassing on your part. But let's be honest. The great children of the colonial settlers are still in Abya Yala and Turtle Island, Latin America and North America. They own
Do you
houses.
speak English?
They own
No, I
hou-
think that's part of the problem.
They own houses, have jobs, and call us illegals in our own land.
Jack, how was your Abya Yala?
Very well. How are you? Bless you. Thank you very much. I don't know about 4:30.
Johnny's
to make it to the party?
Johnny's in chat, so yeah, since you couldn't be here, this article about from a Native American, we're gonna have to accept it all as fact because we don't have you here to refute it.
Johnny, are you okay? Do you need help, Johnny?
Are you being
Well,
oppressed, Johnny?
You know, Frosted, I can do the claim to native under the same rules and principles that I can claim being black.
Well, I mean, we can see you. You're very clearly black, except for the glasses.
Yeah,
Oh, you gotta have, can't do black glasses and a black face. It doesn't. I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
you gotta have contrast. You gotta have style.
yeah, you do blackface and you have white glasses.
Johnny, stop masquerading as somebody else.
I do not have a problem with them living here. My problem is people applying different rules for white migrants and brown migrants.
My problem is people like you that make articles like this that you really need to go somewhere else if you don't like being here.
They're not migrants if they're here illegally.
This is
Once
complete.
again, invaders, paleface.
Yeah.
This is completely unethical. It is racial profiling, and it is violent and shameless.
No,
This
it's
is-
not racial profiling. It's legal profiling. There's legal precedent to this.
Which is even worse. This is our land. We have always been here. Indigenous communities certainly do not appreciate white settlers who are in charge of the regional police department, the government, and small community leaders having a problem with brown people moving around from the south to the north.
I thought brown people were Mexican and Latinos.
At least they're not talking about brown bodies so far.
Yeah.
And Tara Alexander does remind that he is the official speaker for Nibbins on the corner, and I don't claim to speak for Nibbins. I'm just by Democrats and liberals' own rules. I am black.
You voted for Biden?
That might make me a little more albino than usual.
It is hypocritical for white people to set laws on migration when they migrated illegally to our land, stayed here, got jobs here, stole our land, and now that you are all set up, you want to talk about migration? Now that your people
Okay.
are in...
Gotta interrupt and pause here, because you're dealing with a few different things. One, rules of acquisition. Two, rules of conquest. And three, absolutely ignoring that the entire history of the American continents has been one group settling in, another group conquering, another group conquering them. The original settlers of the continent, as nobody is indigenous to either continent, the original settlers of the continents have been extinct for generations, centuries,
Okay, we're looking at this completely wrong.
millennia.
Let's gather up all the brown people, send them to Ukraine, and then give them billions of dollars.
Will, I didn't know you knew the history of American incontinence.
Yeah.
You guys don't like my idea?
It's a
Fine.
very colorful book.
Apparently, the idea of sending them to Ukraine didn't really strike any chords.
Good work. I mean,
Whatever.
There's
Brown
nobody
people
truly
are probably-
indigenous to the land. There's nobody truly native to the land by the definitions that authors like this want to argue. It is people who settled in, were conquered by other people, to the point where the people who are here, who, let's face it, kicked the Vikings' butts, were conquered by white people.
Yeah, I mean, if Mexico wants to like try and conquer us the old-fashioned way, go ahead. You can try.
Well, I mean, I got something to say about that and the notion of stealing California and Texas too, especially
Yes.
Texas, which won its own independence. 2, Mexico attacked them and was defeated. 3, after they joined the United States and had all this, we paid them for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no stealing there.
Nah,
Next.
That's now that your people are in power, you want to set some rules? If we applied all of those rules to everybody, including you and your family, you would need to go back to Europe. You will
God
not
bless.
you will not
Well-
be able to.
I would love to go back to Europe if we kick all those fucking migrants out. I would not have a problem at all with going back to Europe. At all.
Yeah, we would just have to kick their migrants out.
Yeah, exactly.
You will not be able to live in North America anymore because you will be an illegal immigrant.
Okay. Again, get rid of all the fucking migrants from Europe, and then I will be more than happy to go back.
White
I think
people
I'd have to
calling.
go back to Egypt. Because my
How about-
parents, my parents on my dad's side were Greek but born in Egypt, so I think I'd have to go there.
I just kind of assumed that you would go back to Pluto, Terry.
Yeah,
White people calling brown people migrants is shameless. We have been migrating for centuries, way before colonization.
Listen,
Which
I
was a
think
migration.
I have a solution that will solve your problem, Arthur. We all need to go back to the Euphrates River.
Fuck that. I don't want to go back to Iraq. No thanks.
no.
Could do the Tigris.
I thought the solution you were going to offer was shingles. I'm disappointed.
By the way, for the audience, just so you know, guess who has 2 thumbs, is 30 years old, and has a case of the fucking shingles?
Fucking young
Steve,
man.
it's Steve,
He's a-
isn't it?
You're so young. You're
So
a
young to get an
How the-
old man's
How
disease.
I know, how the fuck does someone my age get the fucking shingles? What the
I'm sure-
fuck?
I'm sure Will will
It-
play a violin for you.
You might want to take and apply to that concern about your expected longevity.
Well, I hope you realize that there's no illegal immigrants, including the virus that migrated into your body. So
Yeah.
you have to keep them.
I'm gonna go like full, you know. I'm gonna go full. What's that?
Scorched Earth?
No. What? I'm gonna go full wounded knee on this.
full
disease's
retard?
ass.
Well, I mean, if you're talking Wounded Knee in the ATF, then yeah, it is full retard.
Yeah, he's going to go full Wuhan. You know.
No,
Steve-
but if I was talking about government organizations, I would say Fruity Rich.
You joke, Tyre, but or Tier, but the AARP has been trying to recruit me for
We're not old enough to be AARP
30
yet.
years.
What's up? What is this up that is he's talking about?
American Association of Retired People, I believe. it
It's
is.
a club. It's basically a club, and they give you a card, and in exchange, I think you have to pay an organizational fee, like a yearly fee, and in exchange, you get like coupons.
And discounts at restaurants
Yeah.
and shit like
Yeah.
that.
And
So
the
this is
ability
good.
to call people dog-faced pony soldiers.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, that's the
Special
most
insurance
important one.
rates.
That's okay though. I had a senior moment the other day when I was like just doing nothing but bitching like an old man.
Yeah, but you're actually old.
Well, I
That
mean,
makes
if
I'm
the
not even
shoe fits,
50. I'm not even 50. I mean,
You're the oldest one here, except I don't know how old Will is.
I'll be 50 next February. You hush.
I'll
he
be
beats
30.
me by a year.
I'll be 34 this month.
Fucking
it's-
youngins. I swear to God.
Yeah, Terry, I'm never the oldest man in the room when Moonshock's around.
Yeah, I had you beaten by a couple of months, dude. I don't want to hear that.
Let's
No,
see.
it's a year and a couple months.
Oh, you're
Stephen
75? Oh, okay. I thought you were 74 like me. Never mind. Johnny Blaze,
Stephen
another fucking youngin. You know, keep saying Steven. I'm not going to let you finish this fucking sentence.
Stephen
See, I told you.
Newhouse.
It's weird. It's weird. It's surreal remembering that I'm the youngest person here.
Yeah.
Let's see. Stephen
'Cause I certainly-
Newhouse.
I don't
Did you know
feel
that
like
you're not
it.
going to be able to finish this
Hey,
sentence?
Jack, if it's any comfort, I have almost always been either the oldest or the youngest person in my social group. So you can ride that line where here you're the youngest, and in other groups you're the oldest.
Frosted going to mute me.
Stephen Newhouse, Orange Country executive, told ABC News, "We were told last Friday from the mayor of New York City."
What? New York City?
Is,
Yep.
is
It's
this
not
a
New
new
York
office,
City.
and
It's New
where's-
My City.
That
So I'm saying hi to people now.
well,
What up, though?
Hi, son.
hi son. That we will have 60 mails delivered to a hotel in Orange Country.
Hi, baby.
And now we have 82. Are you fuck?
Wait. Waiting for that shout out of "Hi, Ginger."
No, she won't say that to me.
Are you fucking?
See?
Are you fucking kidding, Steven? You are whining about 22 people asking for help in your country. How is that affecting you directly? This is just blatant racism being normalized and spread by North Americans.
It took you how long to say that or to read the last 3 paragraphs?
Central Americans and South Americans
Elon Musk.
have always been seen as something that is on your way, taking resources, jobs, opportunities, space, or even land from you. This way of thinking animalizes brown people, turn us into some kind of beast, and strips our human condition. We are just seen and treated as savage animals.
Wait, you
Well, maybe if
just
you
rid of
started acting civilized, we wouldn't see you that way.
Well, yeah.
No,
get rid of-
animals definitely lack the cognizance to deliberately look at a law and break it. So
Lose the
I
word
never see us
animals.
as animal.
and just say savages.
Animals can spell New York City.
Yeah.
And county.
I need white people to stop using the word migrant.
The
Keep says
correct
hi.
term is river nigger.
Okay, I'd happily stop using migrant. I'll go back to alien. That's no problem.
No. The correct term is river nigger. We have to treat these people with respect, and that's the correct term for them.
Well, I mean, I try to be sensitive and understanding. If he requests it, I'll use it.
Okay.
What do you mean when you call me a migrant? I am from this continent, and my ancestors were from this continent as well.
Actually, no, you weren't. If you
Hey,
really
no,
want to
your
go back.
ancestors were
They
The
crossed
truth
the
is-
Bering
Immigrants.
Straits.
They
came
were
from
settlers.
India. Yeah.
they were invaders even, and the fact that they exist, they were conquerors.
Look, the truth is, it doesn't matter what we call you. It doesn't matter what anyone calls you, because your identity is not one of Latin American. It is one of liberal hive mind. And the truth about
mean-
the hive mind is, it doesn't matter what you call them. They will the offense is not from the word itself, but from the interpretation that you bring upon yourself. You are insecure, and in that insecurity will follow around whatever you are called. So as soon as you change the word, you just become insecure about that word, and that word becomes the new offense.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay,
look
then
how
I'm-
many times they've changed the word for black people. I mean, colored people used to be the politically correct term, and now that is like the most heinous thing ever. You can't call them that. And then it was African Americans, and then it was back to people of color, It's like every time they change it, they just get offended by the new correct term, and you've got to come up with something else.
Yeah, and the truth is,
Son saying hi to your shingles, Jack.
is that it's not that they're offended by a word, they're offended by themselves. Or at least not black people in general, but rather the people who get offended by things.
The progressive
like that.
idiots, yeah.
Jack,
I
if it
mean,
makes you feel any better, Son got shingles at 17. So there you go.
I'm
Really?
pretty sure this author is offended by their appearance in the mirror. So, I mean, give them that. I'll just go back to my original label or word, and I'll just call the author what he is. It's a retard.
I think every nationality should be some variation of the word nigger. So you've got the river niggers, you've got the prairie niggers, you've got the sand niggers, the rice niggers. I think every nationality should have their own variation.
So what are white people?
Cracking niggas?
They can be mountain niggers because we're from like the Caucasus Mountains.
I thought that we already had a word for that, and it was wiggers.
Yeah, but that sounds stupid.
There's an entire category of online videos dedicated to mountain niggas. Let's see.
Potato nibbas?
There you go. That's the Irish.
Yeah.
Hey, what's wrong with the Irish, man?
They're potato niggers.
Potato niggas.
You
I
just
like potatoes, man. Potatoes are delicious.
You just got here, and all of a sudden you believe my land is yours. You have more rights than than me.
Mr. Dax with the deep cut there. Wiggism.
Yeah. You have more rights than me, and you can strain me from ancestral migration because you feel threatened by my presence. Give me a break.
Restrain. What they meant to say was restrain. If you,
no. She said
say
strain.
it again.
Strain.
Yeah, I'm just saying.
Say it again.
If you need help
Conquest.
deciphering what they were trying to say, that's what they meant.
Well, I think that Johnny also made a good point when he said should have fought harder. Yeah, Johnny Bland said should have fought harder. I agree.
Conquest. I'll say it again and again and again. Conquest.
That is my favorite Mortal Kombat mode. Is Conquest mode. So yeah, I'm in favor.
I'm just thinking of the "It's Always Sunny" meme. Looks like somebody's ancestors were bad at war.
Exactly. Now let's be fair. There was a plague that went through Northern America between Leif Erikson discovering the continent and Columbus making most Europeans aware that there was land in this area, and that took the tribal populations from something that could kick Viking butt to couldn't stand up to a ham sandwich. On the other hand, that left a lot of land open for the taking, and you had a combination of trade, purchase, and conquest, and wrongs committed on both sides. In the end, we generally don't determine territorial areas by conquest anymore, but by all practices and laws at the time. Boom.
That's 10.000 migrants, because that's not a comma. That's a period.
So 10 migrants.
That's a very, very precise number there.
Yeah.
What would happen if it was 10.5?
10 migrants are now crossing this imaginary border per day, which makes
10.5. Guam would flip over.
Which makes me really happy. We should be allowed in every single part of our continent.
No.
It was only your continent by conquest, and guess what? You lost.
Just like if Mexico didn't want Americans walking across the border, but they kind of do because we're the ones with all the money. But if they didn't want that, it would be their every right to reject us, even though we are on the same continent. Although I'm sure that is of little concern to you.
Well, there's the thing is, from mindsets like this, only the U.S. is not allowed to have borders. The U.S. alone is not allowed to have laws and restrictions. Mexico has far stricter immigration laws than the U.S., and they only allow the people crossing the southern border in big groups that they're allowing because the whole intent is they're just crossing Mexico to enter the U.S. illegally.
Yep.
Yeah, and BG's got it exactly. Native Americans did give syphilis to the Europeans in exchange. A fair point. European common cold did prove more deadly, as did smallpox.
Yeah. Let's see. Before colonization, we did not have borders. We were free to walk around whenever we wanted. The word illegal never existed in any of our indigenous languages. Colonizers
Sure
brought
it did. Sure it did.
Border didn't, but territory certainly did.
What? So you're saying that your societies didn't have rules? Because if you have rules, then you necessarily have people who break those rules. Otherwise, you wouldn't need rules.
Apparently, the natives just had sheer anarchy. Like, no rules, nothing.
Johnny, it's like natives never tortured, kidnapped, raped, enslaved, fought, stole property, stole people prior to white folks entering their land. That, you throw in hunting, trade, and procreation, that's all they ever did.
And I'm guessing that if, like, an Aztec tried to walk into Comanche land, I'm guessing they'd have something to say about it.
Like,
so
welcome.
Yeah, there were allies, there were enemies, there was territorial lands, there was nothing in common without, prior peaceful alliance and agreement.
Yeah, the Aztecs, those extremely peaceful people.
Yes, exactly.
The Aztecs, the Mayans, Comanches.
Let's see. And they also brought this divisive race battle between settlers versus Indians. Nobody is attacking you. Nobody is taking anything from you. We are not a threat.
Divisive race battles. The Indian tribes hated and fought they didn't always hate, but they fought each other. Sometimes it was out of an admiration and testing, admiration for the strength of another tribe and testing your strength against that tribe. But there was constant warfare and interference into another's territory, intrusions, kidnapping, and rape, murder, torture, enslavement. Europe didn't introduce slavery to the North American continent. It was here before any Europeans met the continent.
But they had no laws. We are not.
I know, Johnny. I am full of hate facts tonight.
We are not crossing the borders illegally. We are just doing what we have done for centuries. Go and down the American continent.
Oh, God.
Go and down. All right.
Okay, well, I will admit ignorance from one
point. Go is a board game, and down is duck feathers. So I don't know what they've got to do with each other, but this could be going somewhere interesting.
I'm guessing Go is an Australian game, but that's like the most boring board game name I've ever
heard. No, it's like Chinese or something. It's basically like the precursor to chess.
And Mr. Dax, that explains Pocahontas.
I would say
Pocahontas. Are you talking the movie or the actual historical character?
The premise of Go is that you have black pieces and white pieces, and you are trying to use your pieces to surround the pieces of the other player. And when you do that, you capture those squares and empty them up. And so the idea is basically to fill the board up with as many of your pieces as possible.
Yeah. Oh, if the natives had been better at that, maybe.
And the Chinese are fucking geniuses at it. And it's like one of the last. It's actually kind of fascinating. It's one of the last board games that hasn't been fully solved by computers yet, because theoretically it could go on forever.
Let's see. When it comes to migrants, your ancestors came from Europe. If there is a migrant and somebody entering illegally into our land are white people. The very same
And
person who
your
points the...
ancestors came from Asia and ultimately from Middle East. So I mean,
Nah, mankind didn't all come from Africa. They were always there. The very
okay,
same...
anti-scientist.
The very same person who points the finger at brown people entering the U.S. Nobody is mobilizing community leaders to kick you out, so let's just rewrite North American migration policies. Be mindful of the land you built your house in, and learn how to deal with brown people around you, because you are in brown land. And we are not
Well, I
going
mean,
anywhere.
Some dirt's brown.
I mean, people live in Chicago or in brown land. I don't know.
No, brown. Haven't you been paying attention? Brown is MAGA country, or Chicago's MAGA country.
That is true.
I am not the clock. I'm closer to the candle. You're closer to the clock. Moonshock is the teapot.
Yes. Here's my handle. And here's my
I'm the guy who's actually straight and doesn't know anything about Beauty and the Beast.
Hey, wait a second. You just made me a woman?
Hmm?
I mean,
But he made you Angela Lansbury.
Oh, yeah, I guess that works.
And we are not going anywhere. You are now here. Let's learn how to live with us in our land.
It's
Holy
not your land.
Holy hola, if you liked my stories, whatever. This is someone crawling into an oven, apparently.
I've done that once. It's not comfortable.
I like what Mr.
Legacy
Dex
he
said.
wrote.
There you go.
Mr.
Tron
Dex.
Legacy he wrote.
All right. Well, and now with the end of the first article comes the first game.
God.
That was a quick 4-minute read. I agree.
Yes.
And that is Sad Lib's Double Prompt Edition, where I take 4 headlines for Medium, take out 2 words, and you guys have to fill in those words in Mad Lib style, and then the chat will vote on which one is best. So, Jack, I need a thing.
A thing.
All right, Moonshock, I need a transitive verb.
Would impregnate be one?
Yeah.
Stop your whining. You're fine.
All right, Terry, I need an adjective.
Invasive.
I have one. A turd.
There you go.
What are you whining for? You're fine.
All right, let's see. Will, I need a person.
Well, keeping in theme with the chat and the article and discussion, let's go Pocahontas.
There you go.
I'm sure I'm going to regret that.
Yeah.
You're fine.
All right, and Moon, give me a past tense transitive verb.
How about... Sorry, my dog is giving me crazy. How about spanked? Can you hear her?
Yes.
Yeah. All right, Terry, I need a living thing. Yeah.
Well, I mean, I've got to stay on topic and go river nigger.
Oh, you're gonna. Oh, that might be a good one.
All right, let's see. Will, I need a living thing. Oh shit, I'm gonna have to ask Jack for an adjective.
Switch.
Start thinking now, Jack.
Sen. No, I'm kidding.
Let's tag along with the whole themes again. Terry took the fun one. Let's go with non-indigenous settler.
Isn't that an adjective and a
Yeah, a
noun?
little complex, I know.
All right. Jack?
I'm gonna go out on a limb here.
Okay.
Chunky.
No, not chunky, believe it or not. Sunburned. Wait for
That
it.
could be interesting.
Wait for it.
What, there's more?
No, I'm saying I think I have a feeling it's gonna play out.
Spear chunker.
All right, so let's see. Jack's is... I identify as a turd because I've been spanked as a woman.
Close the polls.
All right. Moon's is... Midlife rule number 1. Never impregnate a dead river nigger.
I take that back.
I like that one.
Probably a rule you should follow, yeah. All right, let's see. Terry's 7 invasive reasons why I'm proud of having non-indigenous settler blood.
Oh.
All right, and Will. Growing up, Pocahontas was always nude at home, and the cocks of my daddy's buddies were sunburned.
Ooh.
I like that.
Oh, this is tough.
All right, so give me a sec to start a poll so that check and vote on which is best.
Sunburned cocks, huh?
I gotta say it's a close call between Moons and Wills.
I would have to go with Moons.
I'm going to go with Moonshock because Jack didn't contribute to that one. He contributed to Will's.
You gotta give Jack some credit though, because one, he dodged chunky, and 2, he thought that sunburned might play out well, and you gotta say it did.
James Colley says hi.
Well, I'm going to vote for Wills because fuck you, Terry. How about that?
That's fine.
So the votes negate each other.
All right. So, in the poll there, it looks like Moon wins with 69%. Nice.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wait, no. 65. Damn it.
Oh.
And Will has the remaining 35.
I do think it's funny that no one else got any votes. It's just those two.
Yeah, turd was kind of lame.
Yeah. And non-indigenous settler was a bit wordy, I think.
Yeah.
Well,
Man.
you never want to impregnate.
I think that there's always like this temptation to like get a little too wordy with it, and then it doesn't work at all because you need the brevity.
Yeah.
Is that why you never want to impregnate a dead river nigger?
That is excellent advice. You should never do that.
All right. So now our second article. Are trans people oversensitive?
Yes.
Is
Yes.
that the biggest rhetorical question ever?
I seriously hope the
Jack.
entire article is just the word yes. And that's it.
I mean, so overly sensitive
Just a
are
second.
trans people that you have the suicide rate, the suicidality of it. That's literally how sensitive they are.
Also, 99% of all articles about trans people will have this same stock photo.
Terry, you kind of hoping that this one's kind of like the pregnant Goku article?
Just yes, 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 yes.
Yes.
I see it suggested often that trans people are oversensitive, specifically about things like being misgendered or about gendered commentary which doesn't consider the existence of trans people.
Why is it always down to existence? They're like,
Because they've got nothing short of existence that they can argue that doesn't make them look like a bunch of oversensitive babies.
Because if you
literally
don't,
nobody is saying that a person doesn't exist.
if you call them the wrong pronoun, you say they don't exist.
I've literally never seen that ever.
I'll be
And
right
what's more, I have never seen a trans person vanish from existence if you call them the wrong word.
I've seen a few that I wish would have
say they don't
vanished from
exist.
existence.
I will go as far as to say they don't exist purely despite people like the author.
Now, if you call a trans woman he, then they'll start to fade away like Marty McFly at the end of Back to the Future.
But no, I suppose it depends.
Where do
what
I
you mean
activate that
by-
reality?
I suppose it depends what you mean, because if you hold the view, as I do, that you can't be a man who turns into a woman, like that doesn't exist. In that sense, I suppose I'm denying the existence of trans people. Like I don't think you actually can change your sex, but
There's a difference between denying that you exist and denying a trait that you say you have.
yeah. But if you want to say a trans woman is a man who became a woman, that doesn't exist, is my point.
I mean, if I say I'm a doctor and someone says, no, you're not, you're not denying I exist.
True.
Just denying that Dr. You exists.
But my point is just that if you define a trans woman as a man who has changed into a woman, then that doesn't exist. So I will deny their existence in that manner.
We see viral videos, some becoming memes, of trans women like Tiffany from the It's Ma'am video, filmed in a GameStop, or trans men like Evan, who filmed himself breaking down over transphobic mistreatment at work and difficult shifts at Starbucks.
We should watch both these videos and like do the sanguine and commentate everything that is happening.
Was that the video of the weird guy who was just like crying because they make us work for 8 hours?
Yes, that's him. That's the one.
In terms of trans issues, the focus seems to often be placed on problems like misgendering and inclusive language. Trans people are portrayed as being infuriated by people accidentally using the wrong pronouns, and as trying to force certain language to be used to include us because it makes us feel better.
Well, there's a reason that you're portrayed that way.
Yeah, that's
because it's 100% real.
That is reflective of reality.
Yes.
Where are people getting these ideas?
Reality. I was actually talking to a coworker today who is trans and caught myself mid-sentence because I didn't want to get an HR report over using the wrong pronoun, and I don't know which one they prefer.
Yeah, and
if I use the wrong one, I can be reported to HR and disciplined for it.
Okay, I've got the solution. Gender nigger. There you go.
Yeah, that won't get me in trouble on a recorded line.
Well, just tell them that it's not the same as a regular nigger. Yeah.
There you go.
Calls for inclusive language are rarely accurately framed as being motivated by concern for healthcare access, where trans people are assumed not to be welcome to use certain services because they are marketed as men's or women's.
Hold on. If anybody robbed themselves of health services, it was people like you who refused to let transgender people be diagnosed under the DSM-5 as having a mental disorder.
Look, I'm just going to be honest. Trans women should not have hysterectomies. Um, that should be denied to them. If a trans woman wants one, they should be told, you're retarded. You don't have a uterus. There's nothing to remove. Um, so yeah, I'm fine with certain medical procedures being gender specific.
If you're really, really insistent, I mean, we can take your bladder and a kidney, but it's gonna give you problems.
I'll bet it will. It's like
Mr. Dax is there. Just say you're Sterling and call them the C word.
yeah, just like a trans man does not need a prostate exam. It's like, I don't care if you think you're a man, you don't have a prostate. There's nothing to check.
And instead, the focus is placed on the feelings of trans people rather than our material needs. When it comes to misgendering, any instance of complaint or upset is treated as the norm, as instances where trans people are silent are ignored completely. Meanwhile,
No,
trans
I do not want a new liver and a kidney. I want a new liver and a new pancreas. Get it straight.
Meanwhile, trans people fighting for bans on transgender conversion therapy, or for gender self-ID and HRT access and shorter wait times for gender-affirming care are swept under the rug.
Well, those are all psycho people too.
Yeah. We don't have to sweep them under the rug. We can call them crazy too if you prefer.
Let's
I will
go back to
outright.
the mental disorder. And when it comes to kids, stop mutilating kids.
Yeah.
That's just general good advice. Don't mutilate children.
Yeah.
I'm all for if a parent brings their kid into a place for gender dysphoria and seeks hormone treatment and surgical care, the parent leaves with the police and the kid leaves with foster care. I'm perfectly fine with that.
I saw on Twitter the dumbest attempt to own the conservatives is like, so if you're against transitioning children, I guess you're against circumcision as well. It's like, yeah, I am.
Oh yeah, I saw that. That was Steve Shives. Holy shit. Blast from the past. Steve Shives.
Yeah, that's right. It was Steve Shives. And it's like, unironically, yes. I think circumcising babies is wrong. Don't do it.
Or the old, if you're against drag shows, then you must be against child beauty pageants. Yeah, I am.
Yes, I am.
That's beauty pageants. You shouldn't take your kids to Hooters either.
Yeah, it's weird. It's weird and gross. It's probably gonna mess up your kid.
They may as well be saying, if you're against child drag shows, you may as well just be against child rape, huh?
Yeah.
How about that?
Yeah. What? And I suppose you're against
conservatives.
I suppose you're against necrophilia too, huh? Let's see. Murders of trans people are ignored in favor of clips of trans people shouting over being misgendered. No matter how
number one murder of trans people is
themselves.
Trans people.
Other trans people.
Oh, I was going to say themselves.
It's not even close.
No, I was going to say themselves.
Oh no, okay.
There's a 41%.
Yeah, suicide. Okay. So the number one killer of trans people is themselves. Number two killer is other trans people. There's not even a close third.
Yeah.
No matter how few trans people tend to react that way, or how infrequently those reactions happen among those who do have public breakdowns.
Imagine having an argument so flimsy that your entire argument is people are dying. Somewhere, somehow, someone is dying from some cause, and therefore you must change your life in a totally unrelated way.
It just.
Well, I mean, I think that the author should change.
They're saying this is so infrequent. It's like, no, we've got Twitter. We can see you. It's very, very common.
It just reminds me. This is a deep cut, but of the Frasier episode where every time people got mad at him, he would say, "May I remind you that not 5 days ago I was punched in the face by a man now dead," and he would just use that as an excuse to get sympathy.
Well, here's the thing. If we're going to bring into the whole thing, the people are dying. As Terry pointed out, the number one killer of trans people is trans people themselves, as in their suicide rate is horrendous. it is worse than the suicide rate for Jews in Nazi Germany.
It is. Yeah.
And
it's about 40%.
it does not change for the better post-transition. But by transitioning, you lock them into the suicidality rate, whereas left to themselves, the vast majority go on to basically live a normal life, to grow out of whatever's confusing them, and some of them need
I've
mental
actually
health
heard that the
services
suicide.
to assist with that. The ideology that is killing people is your own, not the people being critical of you.
Yeah, but I've heard the suicide rate actually increases after transition because they're sold transition as if it's the cure to all their problems, and then it isn't. And
Yeah, I've only-
instead comes with massive physical repercussions that they now got to live with for the rest of their life.
Yeah, I've only heard of 2 studies on the subject for the post-transition. One basically says it doesn't appreciably change. The other one says it gets worse. The one thing that they don't want you to know, especially for all of the kids that they're claiming are trans, is that better than 98% of them left to themselves grow out of whatever makes you think they're trans and live a normal life. The 2% left, 90% of them with minimal mental health treatment live a normal life.
Yeah, I mean, most of them are just gay and like acting effeminate as a boy or acting butch as a girl instead of just being,
As a
homosexual. It's
kid,
like, no, they must be the opposite sex. We need to cut their bits and pieces off.
All right, it's easier to drug them and chop them up.
As a kid, I had a friend. Yeah, it's surprising. Will had friends. I had a friend that liked playing boy things, liked playing with dolls too. In that day and age, it was just like, oh, hey, he'll make a great dad. You know what? You never met a straighter, more masculine person. I don't know if he ever turned out to be a dad or not. He would have been a good one. I had friends who were girls who were the ultimate tomboy. Mrs. Forge was one of them. Grew up to be a very feminine, amazing woman, and still had fun doing things like hiking and all the things that made people say that tomboy at the time. Today, you start doing any of that stuff, and their first thing is puberty blockers, hormone treatment, and cut off your genitalia.
But, well, it's all reversible, so I don't see what the big problem is.
Yeah, it's completely reversible. No physical permanent consequences at all.
Well, the osteoporosis is reversible if you stop taking the hormone blockers and the or the puberty blockers and the hormones for long enough, and you haven't destroyed your bones before then.
It's bizarre how the entire liberal narrative surrounding this collapses, and on multiple subjects, not even just transgender. It collapses if you consider an unborn child to have any value whatsoever.
Yeah,
more than zero value. Their entire argument collapses completely.
Well, luckily they consider them to have zero value.
I'm sorry, Tyr. Mrs. Forge is not in the room. I wish she was, but she has not been on this earth for a number of years now.
That's
not to be a downer.
No, wait. You're saying she's an alien? Oh, that ties back into the first article.
Yeah,
there you go.
But not illegal.
Any instance caught on camera is a tool to be used to push the narrative that trans people are mentally ill and oversensitive. As a
Weren't you just complaining that they need treatment? If they're not ill, then what do they need treatment for?
For their non-illness.
Yeah.
As a trans person who deals with a lot of transphobia, and who at this stage is almost never surprised by how blatant people can be with their bigotry, When I see a video of a trans person getting visibly upset over transphobic mistreatment, I tend to think about what probably led them to such a large reaction. For trans people who don't...
Being oversensitive?
Yeah.
For trans
Being
people...
mentally ill?
For trans people who don't pass consistently as their gender, having their gender assumed incorrectly is constant. And so to react with anger and even make a scene in public, the extent of the transphobia usually needs to be quite extreme. That or they finally cracked under the weight of constant abuse, and the instance that caused them to become so visibly upset was just the final straw.
Or maybe they're just oversensitive. There's always that option.
No,
I mean, oversensitive, mentally ill. I mean, there's a lot of things that apply here.
For every instance of a trans person getting angry or upset over misgendering, there are hundreds of times they held their tongue, or perhaps calmly corrected. Correcting every transphobic comment we hear and insisting on arguing with those who refuse to use the pronouns we desire would leave many trans people with little time for anything else. If trans people were really as sensitive as many media outlets would have us believe, I would be seeing fights over these problems everywhere around me.
Or maybe just a 41% suicide rate. I mean, that might happen too.
Excuse me, the trans population, just like the gay population, is not a big enough percentage of the U.S. population for you to see fights everywhere, every day around you over things like this.
Well, don't worry. They're trying to fix that. They're trying to crank those numbers up.
Yeah.
I don't think it's, considering the suicidality rate post-surgery, I don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, they need to fix that.
Every day I have at least one gender-critical activist online tell me I'm a woman. If I'm actively posting on social media in support of trans rights, it will be dozens. When I am around a friend's parents who have been informed I'm trans, I have to deal with several instances of misgendering over the course of an interaction. Sometimes
I'm betting they're doing that without being informed that you're trans. Something tells me you don't pass.
Yeah.
Very few people do, to be honest.
Also, and something tells me that the only thing, it's not being trans, which is the only thing that you are told you're wrong about. I imagine you were wrong about just about everything you've ever said ever.
Well, looking at her picture, I would just assume she's a lesbian.
Johnny's got it right there. When I hear "I'm a woman," I picture Ms. Garrison.
And didn't Kyle's dad try and become a dolphin?
No, he did become a dolphin. Okay. Sometimes a work colleague will make a comment like, "This is a woman thing, you wouldn't get it," about periods. Or a supervisor...
Fair, true, accurate.
Or a supervisor will conflate being a man with having a penis. And I bite my tongue. In most instances, outspokenly supporting trans inclusion or refusing to tolerate being misgendered would cause me problems at work or at places I visit. One of the few places I tolerate no instances of transphobia is when I'm at social events or am solely among friends. I won't be friends with someone who misgenders me or treats me poorly for being trans, and I won't waste my social time feeling terrible and letting someone walk all over me.
No, you probably cry, scream, yell at them, perhaps get physically violent, and if they don't kowtow and change, you write them off as impossible to deal with.
No, but this is one I will give the author because, like, me and this author should not be friends. There is no way that friendship would ever work. And so if they're saying, I don't want to be friends with people like Terry, it's like, good. No. You don't have to be friends with people that you don't want to be friends with. That's fine.
Yeah, let's go scorched earth on that one.
Yeah.
During one of the few periods of time where I am able to express myself about the ways I am mistreated, I might end up having a stronger reaction than is ideal, because I keep it bottled up the rest of the time. Does that make me sensitive? Perhaps in
Yes.
perhaps in those contexts, but I'd argue the fact I'm so controlled the rest of the time is evidence that I can emotionally regulate in the face of bigotry better than most people can.
What?
I'm gonna go out on a limb. I don't believe you're controlled any of the
No,
time.
not at all.
Yeah, and what's more, having control is not just about having control most of the time. Most people are in control most of the time. The most
Yes.
irrational people on earth are in control most of the time because the fact is you can't spaz out every moment of your life. It would be exhausting.
Well, I mean, if you're spazzing out as often as this author is it really calling spazzing anymore?
Mhm.
It's just a way of life.
Stop pretending as though you're the most tortured person on the earth. Jesus Christ, get over yourself.
I can't help but play these accusations over in my mind when someone says something transphobic around me, no matter how minor. My concern is always that if I correct someone, I'll be framed as unreasonable or over-emotional, and that I'll
And my advice goes to all of the liberal types out there. Just stop pretending you're the most tortured person on the earth. Stop pretending that you are the victim of every single injustice that has ever happened ever. You're some schmuck, just like everybody else. That's all you are. Everybody has problems. You are just some asshole who has problems like everybody else. Get
Stop
over
pretending-
yourself.
Stop pretending you're the most balanced, rational person in the world. You're not the most balanced, rational person in the room when you're by yourself.
If
You say every injustice. There's only 2 games in the series. There's not that many.
if you can't deal with everyday life, because that's what you're complaining about, is everyday life. If you can't deal with that, that is in no way some sort of achievement on your part. You're a loser.
I think Johnny has good advice. Has the author tried not being a total bitch? I think that would work wonders.
Yeah.
Say, I gotta say, Jack, stop insulting losers.
I mean, she's a trans man, so I suppose she technically has tried not being a bitch.
Good point.
Just failed.
Yeah.
It failed miserably, but I suppose an attempt was made.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of losers, you tried being a man and you're not good at that.
So failed at being a woman, failed at being a man. What else do you want to fail at today? Ooh,
I
being
fail at joining the
stable,
41%.
sane.
I'll be framed as unreasonable or over-emotional, and that'll contribute to this negative stereotype about trans people. Then, of course, I worry that keeping me quiet is exactly what these narratives are designed for, and that by not speaking up, I'm letting transphobia fester. In the
Honey,
end...
you are the reason there's a stereotype.
Mr. Dax says she failed at Depression Quest.
In the end,
I was just thinking, you wanna bet she failed to make the statistic too?
Yeah.
Oof.
In the end, I often make the choice which gets me into the least trouble, with the exception of times where the short-term awkwardness or animosity is worth it for the long-term change. Recently, I was in a car with my friend and her mother. My friend accidentally mixed up the words cervix and pelvis when talking about a man we all knew. I laughed in response until her mother responded, "No, only women have a cervix. No man has a cervix." Just
How
as
dare
my
she be
friend
correct.
just as my friend was correcting herself. I was sitting in the back of the car with another friend of mine, and though we both
And then you started breathing very heavily, and your heart started racing, and you started foaming at the mouth, and then you started screaming, and afterwards all you could think is how in control you were of yourself.
And then
What
the
kind of
whole
loser
class
does it
clapped.
take to be offended by biological reality? Medical facts.
And though we both pass as cis men, I've seen your photo, you don't, in our workplaces, the friend's mother had been informed before meeting us that we were trans. She said this knowing we were in the back of the car, seemingly with a complete lack of consideration for us. I assume it didn't occur to her, though she certainly
Because it's
seems
sensible.
hyper aware of our transness at other times, like when saying phrases such as "Hey guys, I mean girls, I mean theys," upon greeting us. I could have said something, but I didn't.
Wow. Since first things she said that was actually a good idea. Yes, don't pick a fight in that situation.
Yeah. What she
You know,
said in
you
that
wouldn't have this problem if you weren't a sensitive little cunt
Hmm.
and didn't, which who happened to have one.
yeah. What she said in that car bothered me. I think she would have been receptive to the comment if I had phrased it kindly and pointed out that trans men do in fact have cervixes. There's always a
Because they're
risk.
women.
Technicalities. There's always a risk she wouldn't have been. Maybe she'd have viewed my complaint as evidence of being oversensitive, or would have awkwardly stumbled over apologies, which only made things more uncomfortable. Either way,
True
I
person,
just
sensitive little.
Mhm.
either way, I just didn't want to draw attention to it and have to discuss my transness.
I mean, if she did pick a fight, the correct response would have been "Shut the fuck up, you retard." Obviously, only women have cervixes.
Okay,
Uh,
now one thing to do with this gal, her whole I'm passing super masculine male and everything. I'm a cripple. I'll arm wrestle you. Guess who's gonna lose, little girl?
well, not all men have more muscle. The men
Yeah.
with vaginas have less. Most people don't want to be a spectacle, especially in public. Becoming emotional and uncontrolled isn't enjoyable. Trans people, as
But
members
why
of
do
a
you so enjoy doing it to the extent of writing this entire article about how much of your life this is?
no, she doesn't enjoy being a spectacle. Absolutely not, not at all.
Then she
I don't know.
shouldn't make a
I don't
spectacle
know.
of herself.
I don't know why it reminded me of Married with Children, where Kelly's talking about Alan. He says he's making a testicle of himself again, and then Peggy's like, "You mean spectacle?" He's like, "No, I mean testicle."
Yeah, this author can't even do that.
Trans people, as members of a group that is highly likely to be targeted for violence, are not going around yelling at every person who misgenders us. Doing that would get a lot more of us attacked. We see what happens when some trans people do snap at someone or vent about their hurt. And it's that
they get made fun of online.
Mhm.
That's
The
it.
worst thing that can never happen.
And then they get invited to the White House or some shit.
a worse
Yeah.
a worse fate than death. We see what happens when trans people do snap at someone or vent about their hurt, and they're turned into news and memes and viral videos and get mocked relentlessly.
And the entire mainstream media claps and applauds them and goes all in on attacking the people who hurt their precious little feelings.
I mean, any demographic who spazzes out publicly, it gets made fun of and becomes a meme.
Yes, that's true.
The world we live in is consistently attacking trans people, and so being
it's not. If it was, you wouldn't exist.
No, we'd never be able to wipe out the, 1-2% of the population?
About 0.5%, actually, yeah.
Yeah, it's below 1%. It might get as high as 2 if you count the trenders.
I mean, hell, we just have to rent an oven for a weekend.
Not even the whole weekend.
The world we live in is consistently attacking trans people, and so being sensitive to anti-trans bigotry is entirely warranted. Despite that, trans people so often hold our tongues in the presence of transphobia because of the danger that comes with that hostility.
I'm a hypersensitive little twat, and this is why it's justified.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he, they.
I like how they couldn't decide whether to put the Q in or not, and they did LGBT and LGBTQ as tags at the bottom.
Well, I mean, there are about like 50 different variations on it, so. Don't forget the 2S plus.
Yeah. I think
Elemental
Link
P.
to Patia is the best one, where they put the IA at the end for no reason.
All right. And now, with the end of the second article, comes the second game, which is for the chat only, not Jack,
Mm-hmm.
and that is the caption contest. Where I'll show you a photo of a political figure or event, and the chat has to come up with a caption for it, and whichever one we like best, I'll tweet out after the show. So,
Johnny Hellcat's prohibited too. I gotta stay out.
so it's not super political, but it's just the best I could find, and that is Lizzo's portrayal of Tina Turner.
Oh God.
Oh, cool.
Oh God.
Where's
You
the
know what?
bleach? I need to wash out my
No,
eyes.
This is perfect. Dante's last comment, even though it was made before the picture was shown, actually
Yeah.
is the perfect caption.
Yeah. I'm sure somewhere Tina Turner is honored to have this
Yeah,
tribute to her.
You know what's really sad is there actually people out there that would fuck that.
But they would never get seen again.
She
Not
is
even
so,
with a blindfold.
she is so attractive. She looks just like Lizzo.
Yeah.
That is the biggest disco ball.
Let's see. Seismologist warn, Yellowstone about to erupt. Damn it, Frosted, we don't need to see your spank material.
Ooh.
No, trust me, I'm good on that one. Let's see.
You wouldn't like me when the floor goes out.
Big bitches keep on twerking, fat rolls keep on rolling.
I forgot that Tina Turner did a version of that, because I always think of that as like a Creedence Clearwater Revival song.
Yeah, me too. I didn't know she covered it.
Hmm.
I know her best from being the Acid Queen in Tommy.
Yeah.
What's lard got to do with it?
I like that. I like that.
Yeah, that's a good
good.
one.
That's
We
good.
have a front runner.
I think we can stop it right there because I think we already found our winner.
Unfortunately, we have less submissions because a certain monkeys decided to stream at this time.
No, he's not streaming until like tomorrow.
Oh. Is the stage rated for this much Tina? Only an
Everyone
acid
heroes
queen
being
would think that was a good idea. Ate the single ladies, ate those single ladies.
If it was Beyonce, not Tina Turner, that would work. But
Yeah.
I'm still giving it to Keith.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That was spot on.
I think it's unanimous.
It is.
All right, I'll give it
Only
a few
so
more
far.
seconds.
Congrats,
Everyone
Keith.
needs a hero sandwich. My God, woman, do you realize how much glitter had to die to make your outfit? All right, I think I'll end it there. So,
Keith.
Keith, yeah.
Eve.
Obviously.
Mm-hmm.
all right. So it looks like Keeve wins this week.
I am your private dancer.
I want a refund.
All right, so just let me copy that down.
Yeah, tears makes me think it's like lap dance. No, I don't want to go back to the ER.
Let's she was great when she was chasing Indiana Jones and Raiders of the Lost Ark. All right.
Jay's
And,
never go to a strip club on Monday mornings.
Hmm.
all right. And now on to our third article. One of the paper cuts of being black in America.
Oh God! Shut up.
So by paper cuts, you mean small and inconsequential.
John Zell
Yes.
Anderson.
John
The
Zell
mic-
Anderson.
The microaggression of black caricatures.
So what you're saying is that you are so utterly weak and flaccid that a paper cut will knock you over.
Are black people oversensitive? The article.
Oh God, this guy is a fucking retard.
We
Oh,
knew
my-
that from the title.
Okay, yeah, I got a picture of this fucker.
Okay.
And here you go. He looks very douchebaggy.
He does.
Yeah.
We knew that from the title too.
Why would you hate me, baby?
I mean, if she wants reasons, I mean, we can compile a list.
Hey, you hush.
Let's see. Jalen is an 18-year-old who I mentor. On our way to the gym yesterday, we passed Zaza Smoke and Vape Shop, a new business
What?
that just opened. Besides the fact that they set up shop next door to a high school and around the corner from Jalen's apartment, I'm most annoyed by the shop's inflatable advertisement, which is a caricature of black stereotypes. And there's a picture of
Let
it.
me guess. The inflatable has no father, is eating fried chicken, and can't swim.
Wait, is that purple drink?
I think it is.
It just looks like a caricature of Bob Marley.
Yeah, kinda.
Why am I so pissed off? Take away the Rasta hat, the cigar, and the vape, and this character looks just like me.
So take away everything that makes it distinctive, and it looks just like you.
Remove all the things that don't look like me, and it looks like me.
I don't
Yeah,
know. The inflatable doesn't look like a whiny little bitch.
Yeah, the resemblance is uncanny.
Don't be mean. Moonshock doesn't look anything like that.
What?
It's-
Oh, look, there he is right there.
yeah.
Douchebag.
It is possible the inflatables of Bob Marley.
You
Though
don't
Marley,
say.
though Marley was unapologetic about his use of the herb, I take offense to the use of his likeness, or the use of black people in general as a parody.
Capital B.
How is it a parody to
So-
put a Bob Marley inflatable in front of a weed shop?
He's offended that Bob Marley is famous and beloved, and he's not because he's a narcissist.
Oh, I love this.
And he's not famous because he's talentless, unlike Bob Marley.
I love this sentence. Seeing this caricature daily serves as the cherry on my oppression sundae. Like me, Jalen is mixed race and black. Well, which is it? When Jalen saw the inflatable, he seemed to laugh it off. However, I took this opportunity to educate him on why this caricatured image of black people is problematic.
Shut the fuck up.
Someone wasn't offended, so I explained to them why they should be.
Yeah, I would say it's either a caricature of Bob Marley or just pot smokers in general. Before I would assume of black people. Let's see. This image says that black people use drugs, folks with locks smoke all day, and black people get high.
I mean, the song "Because I Got High" is sung by a black man, so
That's true. I remember hearing that song on a radio station at 420. It was something special.
This is not what I want representing me, Jalen, or any other person of color. Well, that's good because it doesn't, unless you think it does.
I
This
love this next line.
This caricature is modern day blackface. Why is a
It
black
really isn't.
Why is a black man with a Rasta hat, dreadlocks, and a cigar the tool Zaza Smoke and Vape Shop is using to peddle their harmful wares?
Because Rastafarians are, into pot. It's like a big part of their religion.
Racism and capitalism can't have one without the other.
Of course.
According to the cartoon's shirt, Zaza Vape sells tobacco, CBD, kratom, hookah, cigars, glass paraphernalia, and lottery tickets. As a therapist, I've seen the aforementioned products negatively impact numerous clients' physical, emotional, and social well-being, especially in communities of color.
So don't shop there. Problem solved.
Yeah. Words and images do matter. Are there real-life instances of black people with locks who use drugs and get high? Absolutely. But I don't need to see it. Alright, stay away from black people, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't want Jalen to live in a world where stereotypes like this define him and others who look like him.
Make a safety check on this Jalen kid. I'm worried that the author's going to kill him. He's like, I don't want you living in this world.
I won't let them take you, Jalen. They'll never take us alive.
Do you think it's actually Jay Leno and he just spelled it wrong?
I wish I could just buy like a dozen of those inflatables and surround his house with them.
It's like a modern day lynching,
Yeah.
except at a used car lot.
And I would like insert red LEDs for the eyes. Take a walk in my shoes. The bullshit is cumulative. My annoyance with the caricature comes in addition to living in a society that's already set up to devalue black and brown bodies.
There's that phrase.
It's hard
Don't you
enough.
know another phrase that doesn't sound creepy?
It's hard enough to exist daily in an environment where I have to worry about how I'm perceived.
Oh, exist. I have to exist. I can't believe
So
I have to exist.
Not a druggie with all of these different things, but you're concerned that this inflatable in front of a vape shop that sells marijuana products is going to make everybody view you like that when you can do the alternative of being well dressed, well dressed, well spoken, respectable in your community in every way. But no, they're automatically going to see you exactly as the inflatable and not as the person you're presenting.
Yeah, and I don't believe for a second that this guy worries about how he's perceived.
Dude,
looking like a douche like that.
That's true.
Dude, you need to settle down. Maybe try a joint.
Examples. When I chose to get locks in 2020, I had to deal with white colleagues' opinions, masked as concerns, about whether or not a therapist with locks would look professional.
It doesn't.
Yeah, the answer is no.
Say it doesn't. Sounds like a reasonable concern, but hey, if your patients are fine with it, go with it.
I mean, I would probably be put off if I went to any kind of professional and they had hair like that. I'd be like, might find someone else.
And it's not even like a black hair thing, because I mean, if a therapist had like a mullet, I probably wouldn't take them seriously either.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see. If
I've got a ponytail, but nobody that I have to answer questions for can see me. So,
I mean, as long as it's not a man bun.
No, I've got no respect for that. Not gonna do it. Never in this life. Would not be caught dead in a man bun. Might be the death of me.
If caricatures like the vape shop's inflatable weren't so prevalent, then perhaps Falks wouldn't associate locks, a natural hairstyle, with drug use. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
maybe if so many
I'm sure your
folks
hair was
with the locks, like Marley, weren't big in the drug communities and drug promotion, they might not see that as a hand-in-hand comparison.
But
Yeah,
I mean, it's
I-
the Rastafarian thing. Like Rastafarians typically have both dreadlocks and an affinity for marijuana as like part of their religion and culture. It's like that's
In all
why the two
fairness,
are
I do think
associated.
in all fairness, after listening to this much of the article, I do think that the author needs to be drug tested.
and I don't think this guy's hair is natural. I'm pretty sure he wasn't born with it looking like that.
Yeah, that's not. I'm not even convinced that's a color found in nature.
It's okay. I also have to navigate the dangers of merely existing as a 6'5" black man. Before I
exist. I have to exist. The pain of existing.
Well, I mean, in fairness, existing is harder than the alternative. It's just also more pleasurable and, has a whole host of benefits. But it is more difficult to exist than to not exist.
Yeah. Also, the way he dresses,
Good
I
point.
wouldn't see him as a threat. I would see him as a tall, gay guy.
Well, I mean, if he's a tall, muscular gay guy eyeing you lasciviously, you might see him as a threat.
You know, if existing is really so hard for your precious little composition, I would suggest you just kill yourself. Do the entire universe and just fucking off yourself.
So you're saying he should transition? Interesting.
Yeah, so Jack started that, and the first thing that's my mind for where this is going is, yeah, if existence is that much of a challenge and drudgery and hardship,
And
have you considered the alternative?
Mr. Dax says in Minecraft, and yes, everything we say on this show is explicitly about things happening in Minecraft.
Yeah.
Yeah, Minecraft loaded right now.
Except the gender nigger stuff, that's real.
Yeah. Let's see. Before I open my mouth, I'm perceived as a threat to many. For example, white women still clutch their purses when I get on an elevator, or pass them on the sidewalk at night.
Yeah, no, they don't.
Yeah.
They probably do, but would do that for any tall, imposing man that they saw on the street.
Yeah. Let's see. When I pull out of my driveway in the new Volvo that I worked my ass off for, I constantly worry about drawing the attention of racist cops who may pull me over for driving while black.
No, fuck off.
Yeah.
Maybe get worried about it if you're actually pulled over.
Yeah.
Assuming that you weren't speeding, skipping stop signs and everything like that when you happened.
Yeah, notice he didn't say I get pulled over by racist cops. He said he worries about racist cops who may pull me over.
Yeah. And if it happened even once in his life, he'd be screaming about it here.
It's amazing. All of the worst problems in this author's life happen in his mind.
And Jalen's mind too, now that he's, grooming him.
Yeah, true.
Well,
What do you mean you're not
drowsing
offended?
by
No.
proxy
Let
is
me
a
explain to you why
terrible
you're supposed
disease.
to be offended. Then we can be offended together.
And now Jalen will be afraid all the time too.
Yay!
When Jalen got his license 2 weeks ago, my excitement quickly turned to fear because of his skin color. It's 2023 and I, sadly, had to instruct him on how to store his driving documents and coached him on what to...
No. What he just said is he's scared because Jalen is black. That is incredibly racist.
Yeah.
I'd say, so you're racist. And face it, every parent in this country has to, at some point, have the talk with their kids about the best way to behave if stopped by a police officer. It's not a race thing. More whites get shot by police than blacks.
Had to instruct him on how to store his driving documents and coached him on what to do when he's eventually pulled over by the police. Avoid becoming the next hashtag.
Yeah, why do you pretend as though it makes you some sort of special person that you have to behave in front of a police officer?
Yeah, I know.
Get stopped. Be polite.
It's every
Be
single
courteous.
person. If anyone acts like a total dipshit in front of a police officer, they're going to get into trouble. That's all there
Okay.
is to it. It's advice that is totally universal, and you're acting like it's specific to you because you're a dipshit.
Yeah,
No,
take
no.
every single in the history of traffic stops, every single case where a black person got shot by a cop during a traffic stop. Moonshock as white as the driven snow, if not whiter.
Yes,
If
that is
he
true.
was stopped by a cop and acted exactly the same way and did exactly the same things, he'd have been shot in basically every single one of those circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a race thing. If I get stopped by cops, I think about all of the essentials. Don't hide your hands, be polite, be courteous, be respectful, have the documents ready. If you have to reach for something, check it with the cop first so they don't think you're reaching for something else.
Yeah, I mean, like,
Do
whenever...
the yeah, I can get that. It's in my glove box. Is it okay if I reach over here for this? Oh, yes, okay, thank you. Because if you don't do that, you're gonna get shot.
Now, whenever I get pulled over, I just resist arrest and then, like, try attacking them, and they always let me go after. Yeah, it's
So you're Asian.
I don't know about you, but when I get pulled over by the cops, the first thing I do is I pull out a bag of crack and I immediately start to snort it. And then I start reaching around really fast and suspiciously. And then I pull out a gun, but I say, "No, officer, it's just a book." And then I get really high on mushrooms. I start putting mushrooms in my mouth and in my nose and in every orifice I can find. And then when he tries to restrain me, I die.
Man,
Yes,
we gotta
driving documents, but I was reliably informed that blacks couldn't find the DMV.
we gotta burn down a city in Jack's memory.
One city, that half the cities in the country.
Then, to top it all off, Jalen and I have to pass a caricature of someone who looks like us, representing a harmful and stereotypical image of black people. That the inflatable does not look like you. He's got similar skin color and somewhat similar hair. It's all too much.
I'm gonna go with it's a Bob Marley inflatable, and this person is being hypersensitive about it.
It's all too much, and I'm sick and tired. Conclusion. I wrote this essay...
tired always followed sick. Sorry.
I wrote this essay to show Jalen why seeing this upset me, as I didn't have time to fully articulate the nuance during our 5-minute drive to the gym.
I think you can't grasp nuance. Because nothing in your argument is nuance.
I'm told writing about my frustration is more appropriate than accidentally popping the inflatable.
Yes, it is.
Yeah,
it is.
You really want
it's
to
just
advance...
stupid, but it is more appropriate.
Also, you'd be advancing the stereotype that black people are criminals. In case you missed it, words and images do matter. A call to action. If you see a caricature harmfully representing a group of people, speak up. Use the injustice as a teachable moment. If you have privilege, use it to enact change. Doing something...
I'm going to tell you one thing this author has absolutely not done is gone into that vape shop and said, you know, I kind of find your inflatable offensive.
No. His first instinct is to just pop it and, destroy other people's property.
Yeah.
I will give you, though, after pointing that out, the writing the article about his frustration is slightly less stupid than popping the inflatable. Because at least the writing the article about his frustration is legal.
Have you tried a time to leave tea?
Yes. That would be perfect.
Yeah, doing something will make the world a little more bearable for folks like me, feeling the weight of oppression. Thanks for reading.
The only weight you feel is that of your own ego, sir.
So the only oppression he feels is self-inflicted.
Pray for Jalen.
Mhm.
Oh,
All
I
right.
will. With that for a adult example, the kid's doomed.
Oh, yeah.
Jalen can't brief.
Say,
Uh,
dude, if your kid turns into a druggie, things like this article are why.
I know that when me and Moonshock pass like a McDonald's and we see a sign of Ronald McDonald, we get offended as gingers.
Yes.
Yeah, as you
Yes,
should.
we do. Yep.
Yeah.
And I'm sure that Moonshock's Irish heritage also gets grossly outraged over the Shamrock Shake.
Yes.
A-
Mhm.
and
I
then
find that very offensive.
and then I get the little black child I'm mentoring to go and destroy the place for me.
Naturally.
Well, I mean, that you got to teach him young.
Turn it into a teachable moment.
Uh-oh. Kev is trying to traumatize Frosted and Moonshock at the same time.
Yeah. That is ginger face. That is
Yes.
wrong. All right. And now
Well, I
it's
mean,
time.
how do you know he wasn't born with that hair color?
It looks dyed.
Yeah.
Maybe he's born with it.
Maybe it's Maybelline.
Yeah.
Maybe it's both.
See, even sunset it.
All right. And now it's time for the final game of the night. And that's Poe or No Gender Edition.
I'd like to phone a friend, please. Jack, what's Brandon's number?
So, like I said when we came to the conclusion part of the previous article, a final answer.
I think it would be unethical for me to provide Braniel's number.
Just shout it out over the internet. It's fine.
And this is the game where I give you 3 genders, 2 of which are from the LGBTIA wiki, meaning they're 100% real, and 1 I made up, and you have to figure out which one is made up. And I'll even give you a short description of each one.
Hey, Braniel, my DMs are open.
All right, so gender A. Desk sleepic.
Oh, God.
Ooh, I
Xeno-
like that one.
Xenogender related to falling asleep at one's desk.
Okay.
Gender B. Clown genius.
What?
Xenogender related to being a clown and a genius.
Uh-huh.
And gender C. Golden grad. Xenogender related to being a high school or college graduate covered in urine.
Oh, God.
Oh.
I believe they call that a self-report.
Yeah.
B.
All right, so I'll start a poll so the chat can get involved. And don't forget one of the options is that they're all real.
Mhm.
I'm gonna have to go with B. I'm going to go with B because it sounds so realistic. Because let's be honest, there's some weird shit about clowns with the internet.
Well, B and C are both fetishes, so I'm going to go with A.
Yeah.
Let's see. Chat is going C so far.
And I am going to stick with the A.
Yeah, I'm going A.
It sounds a little. It just sounds that far, and can, like Terry said, you can see the fetish elements in B and C.
All right, so Terry and Will go with A. Jack went with B. Moon.
I go with B as well.
All right. Let's see.
My watch is going to be C, though.
Mhm.
The thing is that desk sleepic, it sounds like a teenage girl.
Yeah.
But it sounds like a really basic teenage girl.
I mean,
Well-
they all sound retarded. So.
Well, the first thing it
Are there
reminded me
any-
of, first thing it reminded me of was when Jack fell asleep on the stream.
There you go.
Hey, Jack,
Well,
are
there
there
you go.
any
That just-
non-basic
that
teenage
just-
girls?
That just proves my thesis then.
Uh,
Hey, it's
Yeah.
narcolepsy.
Yeah.
yeah.
Narcolepsy as a gender.
Speaking of falling asleep, move it along.
Yeah, I gotta give people time to vote.
There you
I gotta let the blacks find the DMV and all that.
go.
Come on, Jack. There's only one more
It's
article.
fine
What's
if he
the
doesn't
rush?
get to vote. Don't worry about it.
All right, I'll end it there.
Having
So-
EC sounds very degenerate, so I think it's real.
That was my basic reasoning.
All right, so the answer is C is fake.
I knew it.
Oh, wow.
Ah, you fucking prick.
Not all of us.
Got him.
All right, so let's see the flags for the real ones. There's a desk sleepic. And
I mean, that one's kind of nice.
I like that one.
Put some
Surprising-
fun into it.
surprisingly, this one had multiple options for flags.
Oh God.
All right, and there's Clown Genius.
The hell is that?
Oh my god.
What is going on there?
It's DNA with a clown design.
It's
Ah.
too busy. You
That-
need to
That is wrong on
simplify.
so many levels.
Wait.
The desk sleeping one's all right though.
Wait, isn't the first one just the Australian flag?
Yeah,
The British Cross or whatever the hell it's called isn't
the
there.
Union Jack. Yeah.
That's the thing.
What about the Union?
The Union Jack is missing from that flag, otherwise it could be very close to Australia.
What about the Union?
Kiss my what?
Something that looks like a vagina trying to hypnotize people. You're not wrong.
Oh, you mean all vaginas?
Yeah. With their hypnotic butter scent.
Let's be fair. Vaginas typically only try to hypnotize men.
And
And
some
lesbians.
women. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
lesbians.
All right.
Taco. Keeps put a taco in chat.
All right. So now on to our final article. What will society do to my sweet and sensitive son?
Nothing, but you're probably gonna scar him for life.
Corolla Taylor.
Society won't do anything. You'll cut his dick off and call him a girl.
A boy's
Actually,
best
looking
friend
at
is
the
his mother.
subtitle on that, she may already have done so.
Yeah.
No,
I-
yeah.
Society. I'm going to garner a guess that Society is the name of her black boyfriend.
Oh, she's got one of those stereotypical I'm a fucking Karen looks.
I already see what it's doing to my fierce and prickly daughter. Well, maybe she should shave more.
Oh,
And yeah, this is one of those. This is what I think I'll coin as a Plinkett article, where you learn that you learn too much about the author as you go on.
No, gee.
Maybe
there you go.
maybe the daughter wouldn't be so fierce if you didn't leave her to be raised by wolves.
Her picture's in chat. If she wasn't such a stupid, opinionated bitch, she would actually not be too bad looking.
She looks all right. Just
Yeah.
fine, normal.
Yep.
I don't know. There's a little bit of madness in them their eyes.
Crazy
No,
eyes.
that's just a given for medium writers.
Mhm. I think it's a requirement, isn't it?
Yeah.
About halfway through the movie, my son put his arm around his friend's shoulder. His friend did the same. They sat there like that for a good 15 minutes, their arms loosely draped around one another's shoulders, their legs dangling, their feet not quite touching the floor. They are in first grade, both 7 years old.
Definitely girls cut his dick off.
Yeah.
Hey, now is this a buddy feel good movie, or are you showing them like Brokeback Mountain?
It's- I glanced at his friend's mother, and we both instinctively placed our hands on our hearts. Partly because it was so adorable. Two boys expressing human affection for one another, understanding that it feels nice when someone has an arm around their shoulder, and not
And
yet
partly
caring.
because I'm having a heart attack.
Yeah. And not yet caring what gender that person is, or if they will get teased. My heart
And
felt.
now I will chop his dick off.
Yeah, maybe.
My heart
That's
felt.
how you can end. That's how you can end every single sentence in this article. And
Pretty
now I
much,
will
yeah.
chop his dick off.
My heart felt full like a baked potato. All right.
I will chop his dick off.
It had my heart felt full. I had to throw that in there. My heart felt full, but it also hurt. My son has always been cuddly. He still likes to sit on my lap, even though it's becoming increasingly hard for him to comfortably arrange his lanky body in it. In the morning, he demands several hugs before leaving for school. His
Oh, he's a
disposition,
mama's boy.
his disposition is naturally gentle and sweet. He's a formidable opponent on the basketball court or soccer field, but his aggression is playful, not mean. He loves to giggle, begs to be tickled, and doesn't mind spilling some tears if he gets hurt or things don't go his way.
Oh, she's definitely gonna cut his dick off.
Yeah.
Might even pull the do-it-yourselfer.
Our society is brimming with sweet and sensitive boys like my son. They smell warm and slightly yeasty, like rising bread dough.
Don't say that your son smells yeasty. What the fuck is wrong with you?
That is absolutely disgusting.
We
Just
found
reading
Yeah.
Tears comment. Someone has an Oedipus complex. Yeah, the author.
we
Yeah.
found the female Joe Biden. Their eyes are bright, their laughter bubbly. I often find myself thinking, where do they all go? What, your children? Are you losing children?
Maybe
Well,
she's
I
putting
mean-
her kids into an oven since they smell slightly yeasty
Yeah.
like rising bread dough.
Every
Say,
time
if
I
they smell that yeasty, I think that there's some cannibalism
Yes.
involved.
Oh, that's just nasty. That's a bacterial infection.
Yeah, we're getting some input from Sun here because this author said that her son smells warm and slightly yeasty like rising bread dough.
They
Yeah,
eat the kid.
every time I tell my kids they smell yeasty, they run away. I don't know what it is.
Are they near an oven?
Yeah, her oven.
Sure, there are the physical changes that await boys during puberty. They start to smell, their laughter deepens, their voices crack, and as they become more conscious of self, they also become more self-conscious. There are things they are no longer supposed to do, even if
Yeah,
they
but-
want
All right,
to.
Sphinx.
Because of this author, I'm never going to have the same thoughts about freshly baked bread ever again.
Now you're gonna
I've
smell
already
bread.
sworn off on fresh baked bread, so
Now
Yeah.
you're gonna smell bread and say, "This smells like a little boy."
Little boy bread. That's the new brand.
Cry for one. Hug their mothers. Put their arm around another boy's shoulder at the movie theater. Society is also full of fierce and prickly girls like my daughter. I've written extensively about her journey into adolescence, the startling loss of confidence, the all-consuming desire to be perceived as beautiful.
And not smelling as yeasty as my son.
That's just nasty.
well, if she starts smelling yeasty, then call the police.
Oh man, who wants to start like an all-girl group called the Yeasty Boys? Oh no, wait, it would have to be a boy group. Never mind.
Mm,
That's
These days, what's the difference?
Yeah.
let's see. I've written extensively about her journey into adolescence, the startling loss of confidence, the all-consuming desire to be perceived as beautiful. I've had to be intentional about rekindling her ferocity, which these days seems to be mostly directed at me when I make absurd suggestions, like that she hang up her towel before it mildews. But she's no longer fierce amongst kids her own age. She hangs back, stays on the sidelines. She's desperately afraid of embarrassing herself. Or, what's more likely, of me embarrassing her. Wow, it's like she's a teen.
Yeah, I mean, okay. Oldest just graduated from law school. Number 2 is entering college. 3 graduates in another year, and 4's got a few more years. I took the oldest 3 are daughters. Yeah, that's average teen girl.
You know,
And if you were half the parent you pretended to be, you know that part of your job is to embarrass your kid in public.
Scribe Light used to say that boys are defective girls. Maybe the problem is that these people just view non-crazies as defective crazies.
Yeah.
Maybe their problem is like literally with literally everyone who isn't as batshit as they are. Everyone seems so normal. What's wrong with them?
Yeah.
Let's see. The list of things I do to embarrass her includes walking next to her in public, talking to her in public, and pretty much walking or talking in public, period. I signed her up for basketball, forced her to do basketball in her words, in a desperate attempt to salvage that fierce fuck-it-all spirit that I saw the moment she first opened her bottomless black eyes. Is she a shark? When she decides to put her heart into it, she shines on the basketball court, as I knew she would. Anyone who wants to make the boneheaded argument
Wait, yours is white. Is she saying her daughter's black? I mean, she's good at basketball.
BG's got a point. She might fear her classmates will find out her mom is a medium writer.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. And there's more that they'll be embarrassed about coming up.
Oh, of course.
Let's see. Anyone who wants to make the boneheaded argument that girls are naturally caring and boys are naturally aggressive should watch a 5th grade girls' basketball game. Watch a girl try to wrest the ball from an opposing girl's arms. Look at her face as she yanks, wrenches, and tugs.
Now
okay, I'm uncomfortable with the phrasing.
And now watch as a girl wrestles a boy.
Yeah.
There is raw hunger there. White-hot intensity. Her face says, "This ball is mine. I'm going after it with everything I have."
And it still wouldn't hold up to a 3rd grade boys basketball team fighting for the same goal.
Right.
I used to see that face all the time. I saw it when my daughter lunged for my nipple. I saw it when she made various runs as a toddler toward busy streets and open gates.
She was trying to get away from you no matter the risk.
My daughter is no longer trying to kill herself. This is a problem.
You want her to continue to be suicidal.
Tell me, is your nipple also yeasty?
Probably.
I saw it when she insisted on wearing 4 skirts to preschool, 2 around her waist, 1 draped over her shoulder, and 1 on her head. I saw it when she raced unsuspecting neighbors up the sidewalk in her early grade school years, and routinely won, whether the neighbor was 8, 18, or 38 years old. Yeah, she's like a toddler. They're gonna let her win.
Of course.
Who's gonna race like a toddler and say, "Ha, I beat you, you dumbass"?
You never saw me in any competition with my kids. You want to win, you're going to earn it. I was a terrible dad for that.
Now I only see it on the basketball court. What will society do to my sweet and sensitive son? What will society do to my fierce and prickly daughter?
Get him Vagisil?
I already see what...
Say after she cuts his dick off, he'll eat it.
No, God.
I already see what it's doing to her. It's pushing her to the sidelines, instructing her to stay in her lane. Ferocity? Maybe that's okay on the basketball court, society says, but otherwise hang back. Look in the mirror a lot. Pinch your waist and thighs. Frown. I've also already gotten a taste of what it will do to my son. Once upon a time, my stepson, now 23, was also sensitive and sweet. He rested his head in the crook of my shoulder when I read to him before bed. He sat quietly in the back seat during road trips, lost in thought, occasionally piping up with insightful questions we could rarely answer. He never asked, "When are we going to get there?" but instead, "Why do rocks sink and boats float?" Well, that's because boats are made of wood.
I thought it was
That's
because
true.
boats were the same as a duck.
Yeah. He took long walks without complaint, and he cried when his grandfather burned down his house in a game of dominoes because he hadn't done his math right.
His grandfather burned down his house?
I hope that's a saying. Otherwise, like, I don't know. The grandpa's kind of based, crazy but based. Let's see. His grandfather told him to suck it up, stop crying.
Good advice.
Suck it up, stop crying. These were the same messages he got from the rest of society, too. Particularly from his stepfather and both grandfathers. Over.
I just like the idea of, oh, boo hoo hoo, your house burned down.
Now I'm gonna beat you in a race. Let's see. Over the years, the anger seeped in and hardened him at the edges. He lost his bright-eyed inquisitiveness, started fights, built walls, shut people out, us included. My son never met his paternal grandfather before he passed, and he is thankfully getting a kinder and gentler message from his father and maternal grandfather. But I know society will still get him. One way or another, it's gonna find him. It's gonna get him. In the end. Maybe the metamorphosis will be less extreme, but it will happen all the same.
Frosted, am I the only one getting like the wall vibes from this shit?
Yeah.
I like that the two black people in chat both said the same thing, so he became a teenager.
Mother will always find out where you've been.
Exactly.
Both my children hover at different points on the so-called masculine-feminine spectrum. It could even be argued that my daughter was born with more qualities we'd consider masculine, and my son with more
She
qualities
was a tomboy.
and my son with more qualities we'd classify as feminine. Their birth stories are a perfect case in point. My daughter was 2 weeks early, breech, rearing to go. She came out her own way. What, the wrong way? On her own terms, ready to conquer the world.
She wasn't actually rearing to go. Well, depending on how you approach a rear.
She had no time for nonsense like cuddling or taking naps.
She wanted to get away from you.
My son, by contrast, was 2 weeks late, and even after the contractions started, he took his sweet time moseying down the birth canal. He was content to rest his head in the crook of my arm and watch the world go by.
So he was doing his best to stay away from you the other way.
He wanted to keep all the east to himself.
Those qualities have stayed with them through childhood, but society is now nudging my daughter toward the feminine side of the spectrum, just as it will nudge my son away from it. At night, when I hug my son before bed, I nuzzle my nose into his still soft cheeks. I inhale the fresh child smell that I know will soon turn
Ew.
sour at the edges.
Have you ever considered the possibility that it is not society that nudges people towards their natural roles, because that's what they are? That it's not society that does that, but the very nature of reality itself. And that you are just arguing against reality.
Yeah,
And
just,
Keith confirms, yes, she is the female Joe Biden. Clearly.
Yeah, because, like, before puberty, girls and boys are more alike, but,
It's their latency period.
But once they reach puberty, that's when they start, becoming more masculine or more feminine.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, Tyr, I mean, that fits too, considering, is it Ashley Biden's diary?
Yeah.
I am going to inhale the society out of you, child.
No thanks. I'll just kill myself.
Good night, Mama, he says. I love you. I know I won't be Mama forever. Well, yeah, he'd probably turn it to Mom as he gets older. The process of growing older
Yeah.
is the process of growing older is inevitable, but the process of growing colder doesn't have to be. If only we let our sweet and sensitive boys grow up into sweet and sensitive men.
No, what's gonna
Well,
happen
sure, at
is
least
he's
Canada will make it easy for me. They'll do it for me free at the local health clinic.
And then I cut his dick off.
And I gave it a good smell. Also, this stock photo, the boy looks like he's planning on killing the mother.
Yeah.
Well, I mean that could be a non-stock photo, and who'd blame him?
yeah.
Could be the kid, yeah.
This kid, what's gonna happen is he's gonna grow up and he's either gonna run away or he's gonna spend his entire adult life in therapy.
The boy is unhooking her bra.
Well, I mean,
Dax, that's fucked up.
I mean, you know, the kid could ultimately end up pulling what I fully expect for Desmond is amazing, and in that case, I will contribute to his legal defense fund.
Yep.
Mm.
All right.
He's gonna put the lotion on the skin.
Oh god, yeah.
Yeah.
But he doesn't want the hose again, so I mean, what else can he do?
Yeah. All right. Well, that's all I had for tonight, gentlemen. So take a moment to show my co-host and guest. Let's see. Not Jack Gunsky has Quippers United on his channel.
Which is
you know,
hosted by Johnny Hellcat.
yeah, occasionally, if he has time, if he feels like it, he'll host Quippers United on his channel.
You've been waiting for that. You've been holding. Ooh, yes, this is how I'm going to get him back.
On his channel, Sundays at 7 p.m. Eastern. Moonshock has his Twitch channel linked in the description where he plays games that aren't as good as Super Seducer.
I still haven't forgiven him.
Let's see. Terry is on every stream known to man, including Hammers and Mr. Adams, Minions Nights, Johnny Hellcat streams, Six Sober streams, Quippers United,
Tears Midnight Show.
Tears Midnight Show. Yeah, just as I've said before, you could play 6 Degrees of Separation from Terry Diamantis with YouTube streams.
What's your Diamantis number?
Will, anything you want to show?
Just my regular Saturday streams at 5 p.m. Eastern. This tomorrow should be a game stream, and I sometimes make an appearance with Moonshock during the week.
Mm-hmm.
All right. And I won't be available to stream next week, but we should be back the week after that.
You just got done making fun of Jack, and then you go and say that.
Yeah, what the fuck?
All right. Just let me mute Jack real quick. All right. So we'll see you guys the week after next.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
Bye.